Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's part 51 today, and after the events of the last episode and the surprising opportunities we were offered, today, as the title gives away and as you saw in that one, we will be introducing our new club and playing our first game in charge. If you did miss it, it is in the eye above, you can see how it came about. But there's not much to reflect on today. It's all about a new opportunity, it's all about new team, new staff, and also a first Premier League game in charge. If you're looking forward to that, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video, subscribe down below for daily FM22 content. Anything you might have missed is in the eye above, including the one club story with Hemel Hempstead, some real life FA Cup content, and of course the Twitch channel for regular live streams. But let's get straight to the inbox. You all know why we're here. In the end of the last episode, we accepted the job offer from Crystal Palace. And despite joining a side that is marooned at the bottom of the Premier League table, we have got a chance to make history and of course move a bit closer to home. We've got to take all of those realism factors in, and as a result we took the job. So we're going to skip the staff meeting with Bristol City as we're not going to be here to see the outcome of it. And we say goodbye to a club that gave us, 12 exceptional months. And that run, the second half of last season, will live a long time in the memory on this channel. So let's go and take the Crystal Palace job, get into our first day at the job, and see what the club's got in store for us, and whether we can find the great escape again. Now, of course, this is such a similar situation to the one we joined Bristol City in last year. In the relegation zone, needing to survive. Tom Freddie Orme was considered the favourite, but we got the job, which is fantastic. But the crucial thing here is that Palace have suffered 7 straight defeats and are bottom of the Premier League. But we've left the Robins, we've joined the Eagles. Let's go and get into our first day in the job. What have we got to work with? We have got a 3.5-star reputation side. The media prediction was 19th, so they're obviously not that good. We've seen in the last episode they're a bit of a yo-yo club in recent years. Superb facilities, everything's ready-made for us. Dougie Freedman, inner director of football, is there. We've not got to wait, albeit the transfer window's not open. Tommy Johnson's assistant manager. He's not great, I've got to be honest with you. Of course there's a rivalry with Brighton, there's plenty of money in the club, and the championship's been won a few times, but I'd like to avoid having to do that again. In terms of the squad, we've seen a few of the stars briefly in the last episode, so Tyrese Campbell at Stoke in real life, Mepham at centre-half, the Welsh international, Boyer's super in centre midfield, he's alongside Styles, the Barnsley man, and there's a couple of injuries, likes of Dele Alli, who's out for the season. But there is a little bit to work with here. If we can get the right players in the right duties, those 3 or 4 key men, the spine of the team, and then we can build a sort of cautious but solid compact system around it. We might not play the most beautiful football this season, but I do believe we've got a chance to stay up. So let's go and have a look at the club vision, developing youth players, counter-attacking. Now don't forget, in our interview, we said we'd avoid relegation, which may well be the thing that comes back to haunt us, but ultimately is the thing that got us a Premier League job. And I have faith in us to do so if we get the new manager bounce. So we'll get a press conference for being the new manager. We've got our first game to date. We'll find out who that's against in a minute. But we've got to meet the staff and players, because this is a massive moment in our head coach season. We've had a pretty meteoric rise since those frustrating years at Kefin Druids, since that threat of the sack in the first season. But now we've got a lot to get through. So let's start with the staffing. We know there's a lot in place already, which is great. Dougie Freedman, a pretty decent director of football, it has to be said. 12s across the board. He's a well-established club legend, and I'm sure, after being here for 10 years, he'll know his targets already. Paddy McCarthy's there as under-23 manager. That's brilliant. Not great working with youngsters, but a fabulous coach. Rob Quinn, under-18 manager. Much the opposite. Not the best coach in the world, but a brilliant motivator. Great working with youngsters. Tommy Johnson is our assistant, and I know he's not the best in the world, but he can't help us much on the coaching side, but he's a great motivator. He can give a team talk. He's good at judging ability and potential, which we need as our help for the squad at a new club. And he's got good tactical knowledge, which I guess is all we can ask for. The crucial ones, though, are going to be head of youth development, if the board are looking for us to bring players through the academy, and Gary Issett is the man in charge of that. He is very good. What's his personality? Fairly determined. I'm pretty confident with that. Former Luton player, but he's been at Palace now as a coach or a head of youth development or a reserves manager for 23 years. So again, that continuity is still there. There's lots of coaches in. Fairman I know is a good coach. He popped up in our stream save as someone we might want to sign. There's some fitness coaches who look pretty strong. It's actually general coaches that seem to be missing. Unless they went with the last manager, I'm not sure, but there's none there. Only one under-18s one. So hopefully Dougie can put that right, because it doesn't look like there's a technical director at the moment. Let's move down to the other key role, which for us is Chief Scout. Of course, we have no say in transfer, staffing or contracts in this save, so we need these staff to be good. Chief Scout is David Scalanders. What's he like? He is, oh dear, not good at all really. Very average. 11 for judging ability and potential. The highest paid scout is Andy O'Brien. He's very good. Oh, it is the former Leeds and Bolton and Newcastle one. I did wonder. James Scowcroft. He's a former Ipswich player. He's not the greatest scout in the world. Steve Hitchin is a very good one, as in genuinely exceptional. And then Kevin Gallen, another former Luton player. He's pretty decent. So I'm happy enough with it, to be honest. We could do with a coach or two. And I think there was still room to get a couple in, wasn't there? So there's room here for a general coach times 3. So 3 more of those. There is room for a technical director and another scout. So there might well be a little addition here yet. You can see from the coaching level, there is an awful lot missing. We're much better in the scouting department. We're okay in the physiotherapy one. But we have got to sort out the coaching team. So hopefully Dougie Freeman can do that. Especially as he's got 2 months where he's not got to worry about players. Let's head over to the development centre just to see if there's any players worth promoting to the first team. Of course, I can see one there with 2-star ability, but I don't really know how that compares. Michael Copeland, a 19-year-old winger. He's not a Premier League player, is he? Let's put it politely. There is a Cameron Edwards here with massive potential, and he's got the natural physical attributes, so it might be someone worth promoting. He's not worth 28 million, is he? Jeez, that's pretty ambitious, but maybe he'll get a go. In the under-18s, we have got any superstars. One more with big potential, Rio Shea Lodge. 1.5 ability, 4.5 potential. Another striker that can't finish. If you swap those finishing and dribbling stats, we might well have had a superstar there, but certainly looks one for the future. But no one worth promoting for the immediate, the relegation battle, the survival job. Let's see who's in the squad. Have we got enough in there to do it? So we've put them in report order. And as we go along here, don't forget we've got to find our tactic too. So let's start with the keepers. There's only one good one here, and he's definitely going to be our number one. Grabara, Polish international, very solid footballer. Years with Copenhagen, former youth player at Liverpool. He's top class, particularly mentally, which I hope means he won't make too many mistakes. And he's got a really good personality too, so I think he's going to be a start. He's tall, he's 6'5", he's good in the air. Good start with the keeper. He can be a sweeper as well. Danny Cadenas is the backup keeper. He's not quite so good, but he's a solid number 2. And he's not on huge money, so that will certainly help us out. Right backs, we have got Kenny Tete at 32 years of age. Played for Fulham, of course, in real life. And to be honest, he's okay. He's 32, he's getting worse, but he'll do a job. I'm keeping an eye out like I did when we joined Bristol City last year. Only started 3 games, which is a little bit of a surprise. The other one is Tormaina, who's 31. He is... I'm not sure he's better, you know. To me, he looks much more of a centre-half. And he is rated just as well there, but he's tall, he's not good going forward, and we need our fullbacks to be progressive if we're playing a back 4. So I could see him maybe being a centre-half, but I'd probably rather start Tete at right back. The best left back at the club is Teo. We've managed him before in a head coach. 2 to 4 weeks he's got out injured. He is, again, not the best defensively, but very good going forward. He's a good wing back, he's versatile, and he's only 23. So the Irish international has got a lot to give. There's also still Tyrick Mitchell here at 28, and he's a safe pair of hands. Him and Kenny Tete just look like solid all-rounders. The other benefit I've got while looking here is that we seem to have 2 very good centre-halves. A lot of players out on loan inexplicably, but Chris Mepham, we've seen him before, often becomes a world-class player in this game, has now played 200 games for Palace, is just a rock-solid centre-back. He's going to be a comfortable ball-playing defender for us, and hopefully he'll bring the ball out and start attacks. Eddie Segura is 30 and 3.5-star ability. He's a slightly worse version of the same thing. The one issue I have with Eddie Segura here, he's 5'9". A centre-half that's 5'9". He's got good jumping reach, he's good in the air, but I can't say that doesn't worry me. And maybe I'm looking at it and thinking Tormena alongside him, Tete and one of the left backs out wide. That's sort of what I'm edging towards with Segura as a backup. I mean, the sad thing is he'd make a brilliant holding midfielder, but probably too late for that. Does bring the back three into possibility though, albeit we've not really got any backups if someone gets a knock. And most of the rest of the defenders are out on loan. There's this John McCormack, 2-star ability, 4-star potential, but he's more of a central midfielder. Joe Rankin Costello is sort of the ultimate player to have in a squad. He's very, very versatile, but he is championship level. But he's great to have on the bench because he covers every position. So I think I probably will utilise him. And a bit like Mousse last time, we'll try and avoid him getting sold. Moving down into midfield, have I missed anyone? No. So we're on to Taha Alticades. He is a 24-year-old 3-star ability anchorman. Can also play centre-half and is 6'2". I'm pretty impressed. We can find something that works here. And if we can get the younger players into the side, it will help us out for next year too. Next up is Santiago Cáceres. He is a 30-year-old centre midfielder from Argentina. He's got 2 international caps. He's played for Lille for many years. He's a very solid player. Again, not standout, not top class, but a lot of dependable players that can hopefully do a job for us. I may be looking at a defensive back three with a holding mid, 2 centre mids, and then just 2 up top, but we'll wait and see how it pans out with these attacking players, because it looks like we've got a few good ones. Next up is 28-year-old Bartosz Szliz. He is another holding mid and centre midfielder. Not the most balanced squad in the world, is it? A lot of defensive players. Again, very solid, very steady, good personality. Does say he likes to get forward whenever possible, so maybe an option as a box-to-box midfielder. Next up is Callum Styles. He is from Barnsley. A natural left wing-back if we choose to use that, but also a central midfielder too. Again, they're all much of a muchness, aren't they? They're very solid. They're very decent players. Callum Styles is playing for Ukraine. What on earth is going on there? Oh, so he's played there. He's played in Ukraine with Shakhtar for 3 years, and Callum Styles has become a Ukrainian international. If there's things you didn't expect to see in Football Manager this year, I'll happily say that was one of them. But tell you what, we might want to utilise him, particularly if we do edge towards a back three. The thing that might put us off that is the number of good wingers to come. We start with Omer here, the 28-year-old right winger. He can also play as a number 10. He's electric quick though, isn't he? He's an inverted winger, not the tallest, but in that 10 role he's still pretty good too. I feel he's someone we've got to make use of. He's one of the few that's actually played pretty well in the league this season, despite not having any goals or assists to his name. He's followed by the star man, Celian Boyer, 4-star ability, 5-star potential. Whether it's number 10 or centre midfield, we have to get this guy in the team. I've no doubts about that whatsoever. Dele Alli's out for the season, so we're not going to worry too much about him. He is declining rapidly anyway. Brian Bueno, the former Brentford man, is in. Not rated very well here either. I think he's alright. He's better than 2.5-star ability, isn't he? He's another striking option to run in behind. He's good off either wing. He's a very decent player. I think he's been a bit harshly treated there. We've got Diego Alanes up next, who is 3.5-star right winger again. He's actually a natural on the left, and he's a proper left winger. So we could do the same again with the winger and inverted winger. And with the wide players we've got at this club, we either can't play the back three, or we have to play with just 2 centre mids. It's going to be a big decision to make this week. He's going to play off the left. He's going to be good. We've got Morcio, who is another right winger. Can play off both sides, including as a natural on the left. Pretty solid, but no better than Mbueno, really. We then finish with 2 strikers. Tyrese Campbell, 3-star ability, 3.5 potential. No goals in his 8 Premier League games, but look, we joined a Lys Mousset that wasn't scoring. We joined a Kalantari who was barely scoring, and we got them goals. Tyrese Campbell has got all the attributes, and I'm sure if we can get in form, he'll get a hatful for us. Really good centre forward. He's also quite physically imposing. He's 6 foot. He does play the running behind game, but he can hold his own with his back to goal. And he likes to place his shots too, which is great. And then we've got Vedat Mariki, a 33-year-old target man. Not my type of striker, but he's good at what he does. And if we're chasing a game late on, we want to get big players in the box for set pieces. We want to stick 2 up front. He might well be our man for that. What I'm quite annoyed about is that Chris Tipple is out on loan at Leeds, because he looks like a fabulous young player and a natural backup to Campbell. So hopefully if we can stay up next year, he'll be a key part of the plans. That's the squad introduction done though, so let me know in the comments what tactic you think I should be playing. We're obviously going to see our first game in a minute and what tactic we've chosen. But what do you think the short term and the long term one should be? For me, short term, we've got to play 4-3-3, be compact, get the job done. And then maybe next season we can move on to the more exotic 3-4-3. Let's have a look at the schedule though for what our first game in charge is. It is Wolves away from home. Wolves 13th in the league, one of the sides we maybe can compete with. But look at next month, City, Tottenham, it's not getting any easier. Chelsea just after that. It's going to be one hell of a tough run because they've lost to the sides they should have beat. Watford, Norwich in the Cup, Burnley, even Brighton to an extent the rivals. But if we can get some form of positive result against Wolves, just stop the rot of defeats. And hopefully that'll be a positive start. We'll be back in a moment for Saturday's game. Fingers crossed, a positive result to come. See you in a minute. Well, after 5 days of tinkering, of introductions, of media duties, of everything else, we are back finally for our first game at Molineux. We've just had, though, a first new staff member join, which is Dave Gardiner, one of the best technical directors I have ever seen. So hopefully the staffing, those replacement coaches, are really going to be top notch. He's on massive money as well, so should well be very good at his job. We have, though, got a few concerns. Callum Styles throwing his toys out the pram. He's not particularly happy. He's not training well. So I'm having to be quite cautious. Let's go and get into our first game, though. We are away to Molineux. We're facing Wolverhampton Wanderers in 13th place. And given the stage of the table, it's must not lose territory. And it's not far off must win territory. The assistant manager's recommending 7 changes. We're not going to make them because this is the team we've picked. We want to be solid. We want to be defensive. And we want to, where possible, be good on a counter-attack. Now, I have had to promote one of the 23s. I've gone for the high potential Cameron Edwards. That's just because we've only got the bare 9 substitutes in the squad, so I thought we'd add one more in. And this is what we've gone for our first 11. So Grabara is going to be between the sticks. Mitchell and Tete, the fullbacks, with Tamera and Mepham at centre-half. Tamera playing in the middle because Segura, I can't bring myself to play a 5'9" centre-half at the minute. I want to be physically imposing. I want to be strong from set pieces. That's why Tahar's in a holding role as well. Saceres and Boy at the central midfielders. And then the 2 wingers is probably the one thing we're missing from Bristol City and from Sheffield Wednesday. There's no height on the wings. They're both 5'6", 5'7". They've got no aerial threat. So Lanez and Abdul Qadir pick up the wing positions with Tyrese Campbell, the big man up front. Hopefully he's going to be able to produce the finishes that the technical quality suggests and hopefully running behind with that pace too. It's a very good side. It's a solid one. It's not a top Premier League one. We're reliant on that spine, Campbell, Boyer, Mepham, to be really solid for us. But let's go and get into our first game in charge. Let me know what you think the score will be in the comments. Let's see if we can get a result against Wolves, because Lord knows we need it based on the table. Well, weirdly, our first game in charge of Palace sees only 2 changes. Dele Alli must have got injured in the last game. He's one of those to drop out. Tete's in for Segura at the back. We knew that was the case. Tahar, the other man, to come in. It's an experienced squad, but look at that Wolves team. Why is it 13th? Neto, Suarez, James, Martial, Longstaff, Victor Lindelof, Ethan Laird. They've signed half of Manchester United from the start. Very, very strange, but a much stronger squad than ours. And if they're 13th under Gennaro Gattuso, I think we're seeing why we're relegation favourites, because their squad is vastly superior. But we've got that new manager bounce on our side. We had it with Bristol City. Can we get it here? First day in charge of Palace. Let's see if we can get a result. Well, it's Longstaff in possession early doors. Doesn't look good for us. They've got bags of pace up there as well. That's the difference. Dan James will be running down the left. Martial through the middle. There's quality all over. Back to Lindelof, to Dendoncker. Here's Neto, into Martial. Right back's played him on. It's a good save from Gabrara. But Tete there, not a regular starter this season. Perhaps that's the issue. We've done a lot of work on set pieces. Let's see if it works out. Into Lindelof, who wins a free header. And when our centre-halves are 6'3" and 6'4", that's definitely a worry early doors. Well, 15 minutes on the clock. It's Tyrick Mitchell, the backup left-back with a throw-in on the left wing. To Tahar and Mitchell and Saceres. To Mitchell again. Can we get the ball in? Tahar finds Saceres. It's well worked. The header's away from Lindelof. I did make a mistake, actually, in saying that Mitchell had stayed here. He's been off to Spurs and Villarreal and only came back this summer. Hold that thought, though. Is that offside? We're going to VAR. I don't actually think Campbell was off. I think it was Abdul Qadir from the previous one. But ultimately, I think it will be ruled out. The goal's awarded. It doesn't matter. Lift off for Crystal Palace. We said Tyrese Campbell would get bags of goals for us. And there's his first of the season, just 15 minutes in. As Sosa heads away to Dan James. Don't concede straight away, please. Let it be the confidence boost we needed. Long ball to Martial. Tormena wins it. That height really crucial at the back. Zaha switches to Lanez again. Taking on the fullback. He's got pace. He's got stamina. He gets to the byline. Delivers it in. Good header away to the edge of the box. We're finally starting to look a threat. Tormena's been brilliant so far with Martial at centre-half. And Palace are on top. Are we going to get another one of those great escapes like we had with Bristol City early doors last season? Mitchell picks it up from Lanez. Through ball to Tyrese Campbell. It's in again. The keeper's made a howler. He probably should have kept that out. But Tyrese Campbell, from not scoring a goal all season, has got 2 in 19 minutes. And we have lift off at Crystal Palace for sure now. We're back with 10 minutes to the break as we nick possession in midfield again with Boyer. We've put him in as an advanced playmaker. It's the role he wanted, or in fact it's a Mazzala on attack. It means he can drift wide a bit as well. As Boyer finds Campbell, Taha, Saceres, Campbell in on a hat-trick. Tyrese Campbell has a hat-trick. 34 minutes for a man who had not scored a league goal. And Tyrese Campbell, I tell you what a player. What a player. 3-0 Palace. This is phenomenal. Even I didn't expect this, I'll be honest. Sosa to Suarez. Don't ever doubt the new manager bounce, though it's not over yet. If we've scored 3, so can they. Longstaff to Suarez. That's a brilliant effort. Cole's just over the bar. I think Grabara was beaten. But 5 to the break. We're off the bottom as it stands. It's 3-0 and the goal difference may be crucial too. Only one shot on target in the whole half for Wolves. Brilliant save from Grabara. And we've only had 4, but Tyrese Campbell has been absolutely deadly in front of goal. He's got his hat-trick already, and he is going to be a superstar as Lanez. Through ball towards Boyer. Brilliant run from midfield. Oh my word, it's 4. The star French midfielder scores 1. What on earth is going on here? Can somebody explain this? Are we just a magician? I set this up to be a defensively solid tactic to make sure we didn't concede many, which fair enough, that's worked. But we're 4-0 up at Wolves. Are we just getting lucky? Are they so happy to see the back of Pepe Reina that they're responding? Or have we just struck gold again? Because I don't think our side's better on paper here. It's not like Bristol City with that front three. As Mepham. Don't forget when we were leaving, Max Thompson was of interest as well. He'd be a great signing here as Tyrese Campbell flicks on. Abdul Qadir cuts back. On the edge of the box, Longstaff clears away. This is an absolute joy to watch. Lanez keeps it in on the left to Saceres, to Mitchell. Crosses for Campbell. Oh, he's missed one with his right foot. It should have been 5. And I cannot keep the smile off my face. 20 to go. We'll think about changes. But this has been spectacular. Right, 15 to go. I'm going to make some changes. Tyrese Campbell will be replaced by Brian Mbeumo. Want to keep that pace in behind as an advance forward. I'm going to leave the other ones a few minutes, I think. Morcio I'm looking at. Styles I'm looking at. In fact, let's bring on Styles for Saceres. He can be central midfielder on support. Well, 13 to go. We're on the attack again. Mitchell to the sub Styles and Taha. Back to Mepham. Look at the change in confidence. Quick, flowing possession football. Tete back to his keeper. Not afraid to play. To Mepham again. Out from the back, and then when they need to go long, they do, and Bueno loses out in the air. That's the difference without Campbell. Styles wins it back for Lanez, though. Absolutely skins Ethan Laird. Puts in Brian and Bueno. Great save from Cone. It should have been 5. What a performance. Honestly, absolutely loving it. Morcio will come on for Abdul Qadir in a minute, but at the moment Davis brings it away. Wolves just hoof it clear. It's 4-0 with 10 to go. We're in dreamland, and Bueno picks it up to Abdul Qadir. The man about to come off. Releases Boyer. Running from midfield. He's certainly been the start. It falls from Mbeumo from the slide tackle. And he puts it just wide. I kid you not in this second half. This could have been 7 or 8. It's been that dominant. A wonderful dream start to life at Crystal Palace. I looked at the squad and wondered if it may be a mistake. But it is Wolves 0, Crystal Palace 4. And that, I think in itself, is very much our answer. Let's go and have a look at when we're next going to be back. But if we play like that every game, we're going to be out this relegation zone very, very quickly. Officially off the bottom, 4 points to safety, which is Spurs, but they have got a game in hand. They seem to have started poorly, but we're dragging teams back towards us. The likes of Wolves now only 6 points clear, and there's a lot of sides there that we could potentially catch with the right signings in January. So let's go and have a look at the schedule. I want to get through a few games, but it looks like that Spurs one is going to be crucial, and I think Villa were directly above them, weren't they? So they are currently the sides in 17th and 16th. And that's what we're going to be back for. If you did enjoy this introduction to Crystal Palace and that emphatic first day victory against Wolves, please do put a thumbs up on the video. The new manager bounce is alive and kicking, but let me know in the comments what you thought of the squad and what you think we're going to achieve this season. And if you want to stay up to date to find out the reality, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. We're having a great season with Hemel Hempstead. You can find that one club story in the eye above. There's also links to some of the real FA Cup action I went to at the weekend, the football podcast for regular videos there, and of course the live streams on Twitch. All of that in the eye above. There's stuff in the description below too. But thank you so much for watching, for joining me for our first Premier League game. And I tell you what, it's all a little bit easy, isn't it? Let's see if we can keep it up next time. I'll see you there to find out.